wait, baby. Oh, wait, baby. Oh, wait, baby. Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey. Wait, baby. What's up, baby? It's your boy. Hey, man. Look here, man. It's your boy. I know y'all ain't seen me in a couple of days, man. I know it's been some time away from my people. But look here, baby. Right here, right now, your boy Big Nate. Nate Logic, baby. The real underground radio. Hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here right now tonight, man. We finna have some real in-depth conversations about where we are in this current field of politics, things that we need to be paying attention to, things that we need to be in tune with. We have someone from each side of the fence who can give us some good information and insight from each side of the fence, man. And I'm excited about that. I have Gianni, your spiritual plug.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
I got that right.
You got that right.
I got Gianni.
Say it again.
Gianni.
There you go.
Your spiritual plug.
Yeah.
I got my sister here, man. My sister Samantha
Hey, Nate.
Montgomery. Hey, man, how y'all doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk with y'all.
Yeah. Your shirt is cute.
Oh, thank you.
It's free to, what does it say?
It says free to be kind.
Did somebody make that?
I just found it. I just found it. I thought
like
it was
it.
really good to channel in our conversation.
I think so. And yours is too. I like yours too.
It says unfuckwittable.
I like that. You're free to be kind and you're just unfuckwittable. I like that. It's from Gianni, your spiritual plug. So what's up, man? How y'all doing tonight on this good Wednesday, man? You came to sit down with your boy Big Nate Logic on the Real Underground radio station. We got something to talk about, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't seen you in 10 years, so I thought
It
it'd
ain't
be.
been 10.
It's been a minute.
If you see, I go live enough on Facebook for you to see me all the time.
I know. I've listened, but I hadn't seen you in person, so I thought I needed to come and sit down at the table.
Well, hey, baby. I'm still Big Nate. I'm still Big Nate. Hey, man, so I really wanted to have these conversations because I always feel like we need to be in the know. And not only do we need to be in the know, we need to know what each side is thinking about. Because I would be remiss if I didn't think that there are people who want us to be at war, who want us to be at each other's throat, who don't want us to have these type of conversations. And sitting back watching the State of the Union address last night was a challenge from both sides, I'm willing to bet. But it's certain things that I remember getting a whooping for. What you call me, boy? We all have good loving grandmas, right? Or had, or, God bless their souls if they're no longer with us. You better not call your grandma no liar.
Come on.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. And
Could you call your grandma a liar? Grandma, you're a liar.
no, I'm scared of that lady that stands 5'2". She is.
That's it.
She is tiny, and I'm terrified of her. But I want to start by saying that just because you're in the same party does not mean that you agree with everybody in your party.
100%.
And I think that it's really sad to see, like, there's some people that, like, don't understand the respect of the office that they hold and understand, like, the decorum of the process. And I think that's really sad to see, like, this, like, the State of the Union is something that whenever the president steps in there to do that, like, not only are the American people watching, but literally the entire world is watching. Like, you have people like Putin watching, and you have people like all of these other world leaders that are watching to see what happens in our country. And you have people like yelling liar and like berating the president. And it's one thing to like disagree, and you can do that at a different time in a different place, but like that is not the time and place. Like you can democracy is an adult conversation, and what we saw last night was just completely childish. So it was also really sad to see them whenever they could have stood up and cheered, like everybody hates the fentanyl crisis. Everybody hates that, there are people dying of drugs, and Republicans could have stood up and cheered, and they were, pouting with their arms crossed. And, that's heartbreaking. Arkansas is impacted so negatively by the fentanyl crisis. And but also it didn't make sense to me either because, you saw President Biden, putting his perspective on the economy, and which is, I don't agree with.
Dangerous.
I don't agree with how he is viewing the economy right now. But you Republicans, if they were gonna yell, which they shouldn't have yelled, but if they were gonna yell, that was the time to yell.
Well, I think you said something important. You said that Putin and all these other dignitaries was watching. I'll do you one better. Our children are watching.
True.
Oh yeah.
True.
Our children are watching. So imagine your child goes to school tomorrow. Teacher's teaching. Kid stands up and says, "You're a liar."
Right.
Teacher tells everybody to clap their hands. No. It goes back to just basic decorum.
Yeah.
What are we teaching our children?
Oh no, that's real. And then also, around like processes, because when I was a kid, they taught us how government worked. Well, supposed to work.
Yeah.
Like there were rules around, what experience you needed to have, like what the processes look like in terms of, what was that? Schoolhouse Rock used to,
Yeah.
I remember that. It is a bill. It's only a bill. Like, and then now as we grow up, we actually realize that sometimes, the systems have their own rules depending on what the rule and order is. Like we literally watch processes get suspended sometimes, just in the name of whatever is happening. And then the question becomes like, what's our ground of recourse? Like we had a whole president that had zero experience in politics at all. Like no, what is that? They say like 7 years in the House, 7 years in the, like all of these things. And so like, what do we teach now about like how these things work in effect to like what we've seen in our lifetime?
I think the scary part of it becomes is that now at one point we were teaching these things. There were specific, like you said, guidelines. There were specific ways that we went about doing things, and it got pushed back. And now it seems as if it's going further and further. You have people almost fighting just to pick a Speaker of the House, coming to blows just to pick a Speaker of the House.
And like that, that's where you and me started talking about doing this again, and it made my brain hurt because I heard Kevin McCarthy at one point said, I will go as far as it takes, and I will break the record for as many times. And like, if you look at the record for whenever the Speaker of the House, the last time that they had trouble doing that, I was a Civil War. Like we weren't doing great back then. Like, do we really want to do that?
But also like civil wars in our history. So knowing how we behave as a country amongst one another, I think it legitimately is fair to presume that we also either are going to have to prepare to govern ourselves in a way to mitigate that, or prepare for that. Because of the dividing lines and how people are behaving around the differences of opinion and viewpoints. And
knowing your history and knowing like that they're at that point, our government is acting that way, that's really sad. Like to know that they're willing to go to blows like that. If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it.
But that brings into question like education right now. Like if in Florida, they've rolled out that CRT bill, so like they cannot have any conversations around certain parts of history.
But not just the CRT bill, because CRT is one thing.
Oh no, there are several.
Right. That's because I want to put a pause on that because I want to come back to that. But I do want to say specifically, not CRT for Florida. They have actually said African American history AP.
Oh, it has to go away.
So when you say African American history, AP, that's the advanced level of regular African American history. I would assume I don't know the curriculum. I hadn't seen the what do they call that thing when they
Syllabus.
the syllabus that for this class, but I would assume that is a step above, let's say, the boycott, the bus boycott. So now we're probably going to go into detail about what happened there in the AP class.
Can I? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So can I? I want to give like a Republican perspective, like.
Right, and that's what I want.
It always bothers me when they like over time you see the political spectrum. I always look at it like a seesaw almost, and like there's the centrist, and then you have just to the right are like what they would call like the establishment Republicans, and then the establishment Democrats are just to the left, and then the Tea Party and your Marjorie Taylor Greene people are kind of off to the farther right. And then like on the very far left, you kind of have your Bernie Sanders and your AOC people, and I feel like each parties have like gone so far to the right and so far to the left that you almost see them kind of like curving back around, because some of the stuff that they are proposing is so far gone, it almost is like looping back around. Like Republicans were so in favor of small government, limited involvement. Don't get involved in what your schools. Don't get involved don't let government get involved in anything. And the way we're seeing now, it's not the original like Republican Party that I got involved in. It's so different. You don't see, I would have never thought like you would see the legislation being passed that was so involved in schools day to day. That was the parents' jobs.
Right.
Parents were supposed to be involved, and you would never see like the press conference we saw today with Sarah about the
education,
all
reform.
all the education reform, all the everything. Those like let your families decide that. Don't be making these big pushes, and that just on every level you see government just poking their fingers and everything. And so,
it's so weird because she said last
night, come on,
that we want to take government out of everything, but here you are putting government, making government make the decision on curriculum.
So I kind of see myself as an old school Republican because of that, like limited government, like don't get involved in, don't keep your taxes low, don't let the government get involved in stuff, because that's the goal. And so I kind of like see it as talking out of both sides of your mouth. And like, well, you say you don't want the government involved, but then you're going to go try to pass a bunch of bills that keep the government involved. So I'm really confused about what we're trying to do here.
A bunch of bills.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing.
So
to
it's
me,
really
like,
hard to.
Why are we involved with this stuff? Like, come on! You said you didn't want to be involved in it, but here we are, right there with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you identify me as being on the other side, but I'm really a nonpartisan party here.
Oh, okay.
Right.
We hadn't had a chance to talk about
I'm really
it.
nonpartisan, but for me, what I see with both parties, in different ways, right? They approach from very different angles, but the ultimate goal is to maintain an antiquated version of what we have now, right? Like, I don't think either of them want full inclusion of all people in all areas, right? And so
Great.
the method of being able to retain control is approached differently, and that's the only thing that makes the difference based on what I can see. And so one is, full freedom to do whatever you want. And one is more, let's maintain a level of traditionalism that reflects the views of our forefathers that have led us to this point, right? So let's keep family alive. Let's keep Christian values alive. Let's keep free market enterprise alive. Let's keep, these things. But I'm trying to figure out where's a safe place going to be for us to go at any point in time real soon, because it's starting to look real grim around these parts the way these bills are rolling out.
And that's the unfortunate part, because I'm going to just keep it all the way real here. Bills like SB 71 scare me. Mm-hmm. And you two, it should scare you both as well. It scares me as a black man. It should scare you ladies. I'm concerned with people making laws and making rules that don't include everybody.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times these laws and rules don't even include their own constituents. Now I understand, the guys who proposed SB 71. I think one of them is from Jonesboro,
Yeah, Sullivan.
and I think the other one is from like Mena, some
These smaller places.
small place with a small rural area. Who maybe he is representing his constituents without considering everyone else.
Well, there's also this larger conversation around, these house bills. I mean, not house bills, but these party bills.
Correct.
Right? These bills that are toward party lines.
Exactly.
Because they're very clear. SB 71's been passed in 8 other states already. It is rolling out this legislative session across the country, right? And so, like, what do we do with, I don't want to call them ALEC bills, but that's what they are. But, how do we address those in terms of how they're going to affect local communities? Because that's what the conversation this week has been around SB 71. Like, hey, Senator, do you know what what programs in your own community that this will eliminate? Right. Yeah, like you about to eliminate STEM programs, you about to eliminate programs for mothers, you're about to eliminate programs for entrepreneurs and women, for disabled veterans. Like, you about to touch a lot of populations unintentionally.
But here's the other thing to it, though. These guys have a history of bringing these far-right bills. And I don't want to say they all failed, and even the concept, the idea that you bring them to the table and people in your party aren't looking at you like, nah, we ain't even having this conversation. So it's almost like they know you're going to bring some far-right stuff to the table. They don't want to get tagged to it, but they sure don't want to turn away from it. And that's where I'm concerned. Like, he wrong for that. You know that boy done that mess. But you sure didn't tell him not to. You sure he was wrong for that, but you gonna hide your hands. You just gonna walk up and watch the body?
But also, that's where the power of the people comes into play,
the people
right?
have to be involved.
We have to be involved. And they have to know that we're, not only are we paying attention, but we're literate. And we are in awareness of what actually is happening, right? So because it's public record, our senators and our reps' voting record, correct, right? And so if they don't see that we see them,
right,
and we're not holding them accountable in any shape or fashion, then the way they vote is of no consequence to them.
Because we're not turning out. And that's the unfortunate part. Both parties, both sides, the number of voters for the state of Arkansas is reflective to our education, our level of right now we're 49th, 50th,
and almost everything.
Almost everything.
48th, yes, but it's not
all our
not
lives.
Great.
Not
great.
Not great. Now I will say this, and I'm not an educator, but I do work with kids and things of that nature. The fact that Governor Huckabee, $10,000 off top raise for these teachers, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad idea. You want to make us start paying teachers $50,000 a year? I'm with it. They should have been getting it. And some. We have almost $1 billion surplus right now.
Absolutely.
They should have got it last year.
But we're losing teachers to surrounding states, right? So when you got a Dallas that's starting teachers off at 60 and 65,
now,
and they're coming here to recruit.
I will say that I've got a little bit of hesitancy, not because of the ideas that were proposed today, but because it's about to go through committee. It's about to start, and I've seen the process before, and so I just I know that there's some things that can get thrown into those bills and can get pulled out of those bills, and so I saw the way that they brag about the pro-life bill, and I know that there are some things that I would not like, I wish weren't in that bill, and so I'm just cautiously optimistic, as someone who is pro-life, I wish the pro-life bill had some exceptions for incest and rape, and the consideration for the life of the mother, and that bill does not do that. And so, like, I think if you're going to be pro-life, you should be pro the whole life. And with that, I think you have to consider education. You have to consider quality of life. You should consider all of those things. And so, like, for me, I'm hopeful for what the legislature does, but based on past history, cautiously optimistic because of what they've proven in the past.
You have to be mindful because, like I said, if you got a group of people who sit at the table and say, I'm for pro-life, but hey, you know what? Even if she's raped, even if it's her uncle who raped the baby, you still got to keep the baby. Is this the type of person I want making any decision for me?
Okay, so not to harp on Florida, but they just passed a bill that the girls have to report their periods to the school now, their menstrual cycles,
Florida
as
is
a part of their
Florida is a whole mess.
their pro-life bill. Like so when I look at other states, those are I'm like, Lord, please,
How is that even?
let's make sure that there's certain levels that we don't get to, because the precedents have been set in other places, right? So
Hold on, because I don't want to. Before we go any further, that just blew my mind. This is your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. This is Nate Logic, man. Hey, share the live right now so we can get. Everybody need to be sharing this live. If y'all got a child phone, share it with y'all friends. Make sure because people need to hear this conversation. Now, did I hear that right?
I don't know.
You absolutely did.
Are you?
Let me look up the bill number.
So
But
you
yeah,
said that Florida has passed a law,
the bill.
a bill.
It ain't
It
going
ain't
to
law
law
yet. Okay. Okay.
So like this is the session though that it's on its way.
But
It's
like
made
we
it to
said,
the house.
just the fact that you feel comfortable enough to sit at the table and say, "Hey, I think we should make these little girls or these kids little girls." Because even if you're a 12th grader, I don't care. I'm 43 years old, 42 years old. You're in the 12th grade, you're a little girl. You're making these little girls report to you when they had Is that even a lot?
I just feel like there's
That's illegal.
I just feel like there's some privacy issues there. There's some.
Well, my full-time day-to-day, I work I'm pretty versed with HIPAA, and that's illegal. So I don't know how they're going to get away with it, but, hey, Florida, you got Florida man and all these other people, so you never know what they'll do in Florida. Salt baths, and so what do they call the dude in Florida who ate the salt man or whatever?
Nuts.
Yeah. Basically. Florida is crazy, man.
But yeah, but we again, this is why we have to be paying attention to what's happening because the bills roll out so fast. That and the website, what is it? The Arkansas.
I know.
I'm about to say the Arkansas
I know
General
what you're talking about. It's that.
Legislative Assembly. That's it. Or arcleg.org, I believe. Mm-hmm. Where you can go on and you can see the bills, you can keep up with when they're meeting, what the topics are. But I mean,
there's a live stream too. You can watch it live.
We gotta pay attention, y'all. That way we can contact our representatives and let them know where we stand on things, so that they can't say that they were uninformed or they voted on behalf of their constituents and didn't have any input. And didn't have any input.
Right.
But also, if you disagree with them, their phone number is there too, and you can call them.
What you doing? I'm gonna call them. Hey, what is you doing?
Where you at? Oh, you got plans.
Don't say that. I didn't tell you to make the plan to tell these girls that they can't have. Man, no.
Yeah, the education bill is out. I think it's about 100 pages, but
so the one she just dropped that she was hinting to last night.
Yeah.
Well,
it should be out.
I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't looked, but they had a press conference today about it.
I did look.
One thing that I'm excited about is that there is going to be a workforce readiness program.
I think that's a good idea.
And I think that's a great idea. I think because not all people are meant for college. That is, that is a debt waiting to happen that they'll carry with them for a long time.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a really important thing, so.
I think like I said earlier, one of the things that's most important to me is pay these teachers.
Come on.
And then once you pay them, protect them.
Well, not to play devil's advocate, but I don't know about you, but I had some crummy teachers. I had some fantastic teachers, but I think I also had some not great teachers.
I agree.
And but I also think that with good pay, I think you're not going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel anymore.
Right, because that's what's happening now.
Yeah, and we maybe can retain them because
you can retain the good ones.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to be honest with y'all about something else that I'm not a fan of. School choice.
Vouchers.
Yeah,
I'm about to say because they were in there too. They're gonna.
The school choice. The whole concept behind school choice is not good for poor people.
I'll tell you this. Growing up where I grew up, I did not. I viewed school choice completely different. I grew up right outside Pine Bluff.
Okay.
And
in Woodlawn, right?
In Woodlawn,
okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So most of the time, whenever I knew anything about school choice, it was because of a sport somebody wanted to play. Like when I tell people where I grew up, we're the home of baseball and chicken houses.
Yep.
You know, like. So whenever we had somebody that used school choice, it was because somebody really loved baseball and they wanted to come play. And so it wasn't until I got older that I realized, oh, some people have got like they don't go to a great school, or they're having needs based, like they have special needs and they need a certain type of teacher. And so I understand that part of school choice now, but I also understand the whole teach a man to fish philosophy. Like, let's get to the root of the problem instead of just shuffling people around.
Right.
Like, I think there's something to be said. Like, if you're gonna let someone who it's easier for them to just jump to the next school district over, but don't let that one school district just suffer.
Well, the problem is that some of these other school districts start henpicking all the value from poor school districts. So I'm not afraid. I don't care how somebody feels. You'll go get all the top performing kids from a Pine Bluff school district and go to Whitehall. You'll go get all the good scoring kids and send them to Whitehall and go to Whitehall. Now, I understand a parent has a decision to make for their child. And I'm all for that choice. But unfortunately, it's a slippery slope and it's a hard decision. But what about the poor kids whose mama worked 2 jobs, who, may not be as in tune with the schools, and all they know is I gotta send this boy to school. What about the poor kids?
Okay, now I'm finna jump in here probably in the middle of both of you all's views and say that as a person who supports the free market, I'm not against school choice, because at some point, where are the people in our community that care enough about the poor kids to develop a school with the intentionality to be able to pour in the resources into those children in ways that those who are cherry picking the quote unquote talent are doing in the same way, right? Like there's nothing that's stopping us from being able to create those institutions for ourselves, and without the school choice option or the support, where's the funding going to come from? Now, granted, if you actually start researching how school choice has gone in this state for people of color who have started schools, it's been very different from our counterparts. It just doesn't go the same around who got the money and who can make what schools go away or get less funding or et cetera around those vouchers. But I think there is also an opportunity that's present, right? In the event that we are looking to innovate the marketplace and create resources for our kids. Now, if we're not, and we're looking for the government to do it for us, then I see your point.
Right. But unfortunately, here's the dilemma. In an ideal world, it wouldn't matter. We'd go, we can pick our own schools, we can do this. Then, yeah, we take all our kids to Big Nate School of Hard Knocks and be good. I'm your principal. We super straight.
Come on.
We good. This is the school. Pine Bluff High. Now I'm going to Big Nate's.
Come on.
But here's the dilemma behind that, though. Unfortunately, Big Nate's is only going to pick off the kids who look like Big Nate. And what does that leave the poor kids?
But Big Nate don't have to.
But historically, what has happened?
Well, it
Yeah,
is that
I know.
hold on? Is that a bad thing when we look at the shifts that are happening to the curriculum? Right. So if we want the little poor kids to be able to have representation around who they are and some level of value to be provided in that, right, around their identity, their story, their history, they're not going to get it over here anymore. And if we're going to be honest, as a product of public schools, I'm a product of public schools. I'm not
We all are, I
necessarily
believe.
an advocate of public schools. Okay, I think those are two different things.
I'm a public school advocate, so I believe that public schools work when they're done right. Public schools feed our community. As much as I would like for us, I believe in community.
Me too.
And I believe there are some good people of the other hue.
Me too.
What am I?
Of the other hue.
But I also understand it might be some people. Hell, listen, black folks don't want to stay around.
I agree.
That's why I'm up here paying $1,500 a month.
I agree.
I don't want to stay around y'all.
That's
Just keep it a buck. Where I'm at now, I'm goddamn gunshots.
legit. But like values matter.
Right. So I feel in order for us to build community, we have to be able to learn together, praise together, eat together.
Do this more often. I mean, the
Have these
fact that we're having this conversation
Yeah, agreed.
and no one has yelled at each other.
Oh yeah, we're not doing that.
I mean, like, well, like this conversation is way more productive than what happened last night.
Oh honey.
We are the adults. We are the adults in the room.
I mean, that right. The
That's
fact
it.
that you can have an adult conversation and no one has yelled liar at anybody is a big deal.
When she said that, I thought that man 80 years old and his wife up there, somebody finna get a whooping.
Honey. It was real.
I hate to go back to that, but I still, in my mind, I be thinking like, you call that man a liar in public?
Right, and ain't nobody
Well-
came and got you
well,
and set
you
you
can-
down yet.
You can disagree with someone and not be disrespectful.
It is that to me. The whole concept of where we are now is mind blowing.
Because honestly, Nate, if you and I went down, like, had a list and said agree or disagree on all these different topics, I bet we wouldn't. It would be very different. And you and I can have had many, many conversations for years about political topics, and I think that's so sad that so many people can't do it. And I've said this before, but I really think that the generation that's in power right now, the next generation is the one that's going to make a change.
It's gonna have to.
Oh no, the next generation, the one that's finna tear this shit up.
You
These
think?
kids, oh, absolutely,
What's that song? I can't remember.
absolutely.
It's like it's maybe All American Rejects. It's like these teenagers are terrifying or something like that. I'm probably messing it all up, but
So I want to switch it up. What did you think about Governor Huckabee's
Her speech
response?
last night. I think whoever writes her speeches, they need a raise because
What? You thought that was good?
I think she's America's sweetheart right now,
Oh, I bet.
and I think the speech,
I did not expect this.
the setup and the delivery of it. I said America's sweetheart. I didn't say mine. But if we're talking about all that was said and all that was included, she hit all the hallmark points of a patriotic American. She touched family and talked about her kids. She talked about her faith and how important it is to make sure that we stand on good Christian values. The same way you just sat here and said, I believe that people, what we say, we eat together, we worship
together,
we worship together.
yeah. Learn together.
She hit the whole thing,
All that.
right? So when you start talking about appeal to individual sensitivities, she absolutely did that. Do I think the language was dangerous and we have to read through it and hear every word that is said, the tone and diction that it is said with, and the implications that are made therein? Absolutely.
Very dangerous.
But that's the part that we have to be mindful of, because I think the Proud Boys were real proud last night.
So I know you think so. I did not expect. I expected for you to be like, she's you.
Because, well, one thing about me though, Nate, when it comes to politics, I tell you, my view is self-governance, right? So at some point, we got to look at what does it look like to either divest from the bipartisan system, because it's not serving us. I've been trying to figure out how we get to this three-legged party for a long time, and no offense, but I was like, if all the black people joined the Republican Party, they would leave it, and they would start another one, and then we have three parties.
I don't think so, because there's a black caucus in Arkansas, and it's.
I know, and they're heavily Democrat, and then we have an internal fight.
No. There's a Republican black caucus in
I know.
Arkansas, and it's decent size.
What's the number on it?
I mean, relatively speaking, like
they small compared to the rest of the community.
I believe you.
They
I
the
believe
minority
you.
amongst us.
I mean,
But they still got a decent size.
They do.
Fill a
So
room.
what
yeah.
did you think about it?
It wasn't. It to me, it was not anything new. They just gave her a larger platform.
That's it.
I've read her book, and a lot of it was in her book, and so it wasn't a lot of new information to me. It was just kind of all put together
Somebody
in one
else
place.
Wrote it and presented it. Hey, read,
It was a
write
package.
this.
That was it.
It was very well packaged.
As someone who used to write on campaigns and in the government office, that's kind of what you do. Is you take all of the approved content from all these different places and you put them together. And I think that's what happened, because it's all stuff that I've heard her say before. And so to me, I've heard people, like friends and things, say over the last 24 hours, like, I can't believe she said that. And I'm like, she said it before.
Right. That's it. And
So-
she is not shy about saying how she feels.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I hate to say this, and I probably going to get canceled. But I think some of the things that she says, you can't, they lack it. I don't see the morality and the love in what she said.
Oh, yeah.
You can't tell me that you love me, that you want better for me as a man, as a black man in Arkansas, and say the things that she said.
But she wasn't talking. Well,
She wasn't.
she wasn't.
I'm not her
talking to us.
demographic.
Come on.
I can tell that in her speech.
Absolutely.
You know, talk about getting canceled. So
You're feeling. Hold on. Before you say it, do you want to get canceled? You're more than welcome to come to this side of the town.
well, you talking about people who kind of are talking to are not genuine, and I have trouble anytime her dad tweets. Because as someone who originally was a preacher in Southeast Arkansas,
In Pine Bluff.
at one of the large churches there, as a conservative Christian, I have trouble anytime that he talks about women in his tweets and makes fun of them. And so, I have, back to the talking out of both sides of your mouth, I kind of have trouble with that. So that's a problem. So I'll probably get canceled later. So we'll
We'll be counseled together. We'll sit in cancellation world together.
So but I think Sarah did her own version of the spin. Talking about
CRT.
they'll which okay. I know we're going to get back to that, but on CRT, I kept having people ask me, what do you think about it? What do you think of this? And I was like, well, honestly, I don't know what it is. I keep hearing people tell me, I'm not supposed to like it. And I'm like, if I'm not supposed to like it, I need to know what it is. And so I looked it up, and it's, my understanding, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but like my understanding is that it's it's a graduate or level of theory.
They don't teach it.
Right.
It is not in. It is not in public school
schools.
curriculum.
But it's the thought that you are laws and things are written in a way that you will be like that things are racist. And I'm like, well, that's like redlining, and that's stuff that you wouldn't even bring up until you were like in a different level. Like these.
Well, see, but I don't know though. They should be teaching. When I was in school, we
We
talked
learned about them.
briefly about redlining.
Well, see, I learned about it at home because
Right.
my granddaddy's business was on 9th Street and ended up having to be moved to Arch Street, south of 630, as a product of redlining. So we didn't
Okay.
call it that. But when you start talking about Black history, these terms that they are trying to outlaw are inextricably linked to the experience of Black people. So then
So-
it's like you can't talk about Black history.
And well, in the same breath, my thought was, why would you not, as like, if you're teaching your children Christian values, treat others the way you want to be treated? Why
It's
wouldn't you?
beyond me.
Well, why don't you say, your friend that sits next to you in class that was just born with a different color skin? Why would you not?
Slavery was a
Be-
Christian value.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying. I'm not. Let me finish. I'm saying they were born with a different. You were born with a privilege. You were born with something, and they're having to go through something that is not fair. And they're having to go through something that is they are predisposed to, just because of the way their skin is, and their Republicans are putting a label on CRT, and because it is a name for something that they can get emotions through and
fear-mongering.
support behind, but it's something that people just don't quite understand because it's a high level, like the CRT is something that people just, I don't quite understand what that word means. But whenever you break it down, you actually understand it, and it's something that is actually like, oh, that's really mean. That's really not nice to do to somebody else.
It's a smart way of saying we don't want to teach Black history.
Yeah.
Well,
And what is wokeism? Do you know anybody talking about that?
Oh my gosh, my mama asked me, what is woke? And I was like, I don't.
And yeah, I'm curious about your point on it about woke. What do y'all call woke? What is this?
I
Now, if you know me and you follow me on Facebook, you know I'm always picking at the fake woke gang.
Nate, I'm too white to explain it. Like, it's like you cannot bring me here and make fun of me. Like,
So my understanding, I'll try. My understanding of woke is, I would say the far left. And what they're doing is saying, hey, this woke extremism, instead of saying, hey, you're the far left extremism where you want to, I don't know how to explain this, where you want to basically tell people that if they want to be different at birth or whatever, then that's fine. It's hard for me to even understand it. And I'm pretty sure you have a better experience and understanding of it than both of us.
I just feel like it's a dog whistle.
And that's what I definitely agree with CRT and woke being dog whistles to, hey, you can say you don't want to teach CRT. What else you don't want to teach? That's the question. When you say CRT to me, nobody's trying to teach you the critical race theory. Nobody is trying to teach you. So are you saying you want to talk about redlining? You don't want to talk about gerrymandering? You want to talk about these things that have officially affected Black people unfairly? How deep are we willing to dig on this? Because guess what? I probably don't want to talk about critical race theory either, but I do want to talk about redlining.
Right.
I probably don't care about the theory on certain things, but I do want to talk about gerrymandering.
well, and I don't know about y'all, but like in my classes, like I feel like there's only like so much time that they could cover. Like there's only like so much. So I feel like to an extent they're complaining about banning the books and complaining about like the CRT and complaining about stuff for just no real reason. Like it's just like you said, a dog whistle just for just to get like to generate support. Like I fought for something, and for no good. Like I'm like, there's only so many school days that they can teach. How much stuff are they going to be able to cover in their set amount of time?
Right. Let me get your thoughts on this here, ladies. The George Floyd Police Act. In like of the current horrible situations that happened in Memphis, other situations where it could happen any minute now. What do you think about what we should be doing about police reform?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know the specifics of the act, but I do. My boyfriend is a police officer, and so that's something that's very important to me because I every time he leaves, I don't know what all he's gonna have to go through, and I think back to an old saying my dad would say when I was a teenager, and I was complaining about a group of girls. I was like, they're all like that. They're all mean. They're all, and just real generalized, like all girls are bad, and he would say, excuse my language. He was like, you have to look at it like the 20% jackass factor. And I was like, what is that? And he was like, it may not be 20%, but look at all groups of people like that. He just doesn't matter. Boys, girls, black, white, yellow, purple, whatever. He was like, in all groups of people, there's 20% that make the whole group look bad. Mm-hmm. And he was like, it's the 20% jackass factor. And he was like, you cannot generalize all groups of people. He was like, just know that every time there's going to be a small group that makes the whole group look bad. And so that's how I look at the police situation, because I know that with my boyfriend and his department, they work so hard.
Hold on, where is he police officer at?
Sherwood. So.
He's automatic.
Oh, Lord.
He'll never see me anyway.
Baby!
You ain't got no goddamn business in Sherwood.
Period. Hey, man, I done seen that little one-room cell. We don't have to
I don't
go
have
out
no
there
business.
ever.
But at the same
Jacksonville-
time, Jacksonville, Sherwood, Cabin, I'm straight. I'm good.
Appreciate you.
I'm straight.
So I know that
But
they.
I know.
There's such a they work really hard, and I know that there's a majority of police officers that are very, very good, but I also know that there's a small majority that aren't great.
They just aren't.
And those police officers don't need to be police officers, and they make the group look bad.
They're just like those bad teachers.
Just like the bad teachers that don't need to be teachers.
The reality of it is that there are bad people in every field. Mm-hmm. People, the badge does not keep you from being a bad person. It only if you want to find out the true
But
nature,
it protects you as being one.
Yeah, that's true. You want to find out the true nature of a person, give them some authority.
That's it.
Give them some power. You will find their true nature. Give them some power. The reason why I was thinking about the George Floyd Act, and one of the key factors in it that I think about is qualified immunity.
Yeah, the elimination of it. It's time.
So here's the thing about qualified immunity. My little brother's a diesel mechanic, right? If he works on a truck, he could work on his truck 2 months ago. If he fixes those brakes and those brakes go bad, he's liable for it and can go to jail. Mm-hmm. No questions asked. No questions asked. If a beautician messes up your pretty hair, she's liable for it. If you are a police officer, you bust my head, and it was illegal for you to hit me, you know what you do?
Go home.
Oh, I hit him in the mouth. That's it. Is that fair?
Absolutely not. But when you think about the nature of policing and where it originated from, you absolutely understand why it exists and why they have to be held to a different letter of the law than everybody else.
And I agree with that to an extent, but
the function never ended.
the function never ended, and I understand it saying that policing comes from slavery. That's the big thing, and I understand that perspective. I push back on it to say that now we still have bad people. Because if you hit old Big Nate, I'm calling police. The police. Now, if I can get away with what I'm going to do to you, yeah, I might not call the police. I'm calling the police for you, not for me. Because I want the police to be able to record.
But, okay, now see, under my my political view of self-governance, why do I need anybody else to govern my interactions with anybody about anything? Because if we the adults in the room, Nate,
right?
If we the adults in the room, we should be able to govern ourselves in such a manner that should either be able to de-escalate the situation or handle it. That's the best way to say it. Handle it one way or another, right? So at the point that I gotta involve anybody, it's the same way.
But in a perfect world, that would be the case. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have disputes and need police.
Do we need
them? Yes. Because it's some fools.
To do what? Because they don't stop crime. They show up after.
Like I said.
If they're doing their job properly, then they usually prevent, because it's been shown when there's a police presence, they lower the crime rate.
In a dream world, I would agree with that. But
I have a question for you. I know this is not normally how this goes, but what do you think about what's happening with like the crime rate in Little Rock? And how LRPD is handling all of that?
I have a lot of close friends who are police officers, and I pray for them daily.
Of course.
So both of you ladies know me. You know I'm directly connected to a lot of these boys in these streets.
Yeah.
The police can't stop it.
Period.
Is that because of leadership, or is that because of what's happening?
Police ain't gonna be able to stop it. They can't do nothing but deter it. They can't even deter.
They can't. That's what I was about to say.
So police can deter it.
No.
The police being around is not gonna stop nothing. When I say this next generation finna be the one.
Sam, when I tell you that I'm connected to these kids, like I know a lot of these boys.
They don't fear loss of life.
They don't fear. They fear nothing. Police, this problem that we have now in our community. Without going too far into it, it comes from another part that we're deeply connected. It comes from Pine Bluff.
I know it.
So what happens now, these boys are in Pine Bluff. They can come anywhere.
They said them boys, they got it up there, we going to get it.
Wherever it's at, whatever we want.
And whatever we got to do to get it. I'm leaving with
and
something.
What they'll do, and why I say this problem isn't going to stop now, Sam, it's not. Because they're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of no police. They'll pull up on the police. I've seen it. What's up? I know the Officer Collins got killed. Know the boy's family that did it. Know Officer Collins' whole family. Love him dearly. Love both sides dearly. Grew up with the young man's family who did it.
How do you stop that becoming the next generation?
How do you stop it?
Well,
is that getting in the schools? Is that like, how do you?
Because the schools is half the problem. We really got to reclaim our kids from these systems.
You know how you stop it, Sam?
But it got to be the kids, because we got one generation that's lost for sure.
It's over with.
So you gotta jump into the next one and stop it there.
And here's the
like
dilemma.
6 to 8 year olds now. In 10 years they'll be 18. If you think about it,
it's heartbreaking.
Isn't that sad?
It's heartbreaking. It's scary, but it's our reality. Here's the only thing. Here's the sad part about it. We, young black babies, are now a commodity of war. They're a commodity of the Democrat Party. They're a commodity of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is going to say, Look what these young heathens, violence, 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 kill, 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 kill. The Democratic Party is going to say, oh, we have to protect the babies. But everybody's sitting around with their hands in their pocket. Don't want you to fix the problem. I'll tell you, they don't want to fix the problem because the problem creates more opportunity and money.
Come on.
I'm a product of it.
Private prisons is big business.
I'll go as far, Sam, and tell you that if you know me, you know that I'm really interested in working with these kids and dealing with in the school. I've been told that, hey, Nate, we don't want you in the school. You're fixing the problem, Nate. We don't want you here. I wish I could tell you I was joking. Nate, you are fixing this problem. That doesn't work for us. The problem, you're the fixer.
Especially when the new attorney general want to add 3,000 more beds. No, 5,000, excuse me. He want to add 5,000 more beds. And said he's effectively willing to spend $500 million in order to procure them.
Man.
The yin and the yang, the good and the bad, and one cannot operate without the other.
This is an investment. And that's why I say we have to reclaim our kids from these schools, because the school to prison pipeline begins in public school.
But guess what? The Democratic Party wants this consumption, this as well. So it's almost like I have to almost agree with what she's saying. We got to get out of the system. Because these young black boys have become a commodity of war.
But the flip side of it, though, is that the only way we can do that is to take responsibility for being able to create an alternative. And
if you don't create that alternative,
we get what we get.
You get, because guess what? You got some of them gonna get cherry picked. Come on, boy. You look like you play ball good. Come on here, let's go play for the Hogs. Let's go play for the Bulldogs. Let's go play for Mills. Let's go play baseball for Woodlawn. Oh, you look like you smart, baby girl. You real smart. Come on over here and teach us something. But guess what? The ones like me didn't have good grades. Wasn't that athletic. All I always had was a good mouthpiece and knew how to move the crowd and have fun. You know what? Hope you make it. Graduated from high school with a 2.5 or something like that. I had a dad who kicked my ass, loved me dearly, and said, "Nah, you're going to do something." My father fathered all of my friends and held all of us accountable. Rest in peace, Mr. David Jolly, who just passed away. 2 men fathered a neighborhood of about 30 young black boys.
My.
You go on one end of the block of the hood, you got Mr. Jolly. You got on the other end of the block of the hood, you got Fred, my dad. You gonna get some act right between them two. And when it's report card time, you gotta report the 1-2. You wanna go play basketball, you gotta go see Fred. You wanna go make some money, you gotta go see Fred. You wanna eat, you gotta see Fred. You wanna play basketball, you gotta see Mr. Jolly. And you reporting between the two, 30 black boys.
But let's talk about that though, Nate, because
there's no more.
Come on, no, but I'm saying though, 2 black men to father 30 boys. Okay, now if we talking about our men be talking about we don't be properly acknowledging them. But I think this is the conversation that if we don't never acknowledge them, the power of presence goes a long way, right? Especially when we're talking about the establishment of discipline and order, right? Those are things that men establish amongst.
Yo, you gotta.
My phone going off?
Your mic. It's gotta. Yeah, there you go. It's gotta.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Okay, but discipline and order is established amongst men.
Agreed.
Right.
100%.
So when we even start talking about how our boys get to the state that they in, and we look back at their development in terms of how they are being nurtured into the internal power that they grow into, right? And in other cultures, they have rites of passage, right? That teaches you how to navigate your new functions as you grow into them. But
it's a lot, and
we gotta no. But I'm saying this for the men that are listening. Like, your presence is powerful, and without it, we are going to continue to lack discipline and order in our communities. But it has to also be given with a love and a nurture that leads us into a strong self-identity and community.
And not only, Sam, that's not just for black men. These These boys, who white coaches and football. I know some of my best friends who adorn Coach Marion Glover from Palm Bluff High.
He coached football at Woodlawn too.
Yeah.
We brought him out of retirement.
So they adorned him. Like, that was a lot of them, you know. And so what it goes
Closest we ever got to a state championship.
Yeah. But then it goes back to community. It goes back to so your question was, how do we fix this? Community. That community ain't going to always may not look like us. May not look like you, may not look like me, may not be. You don't know what it is, but the reality of it is it has to include love.
Yeah, and some other values too, because we got to love each other more than we love this money out here and these materials that we are able to acquire. Because
sometimes love looks a little different.
Oh yeah,
sometimes love is telling people no.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little tough.
Sometimes
that's the best love.
I
sure wish little Debbie told me no sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. But but I'm just saying.
You supposed to tell her no, Nate. You do the choosing.
No, Debbie loves me. But listen, man, I would. We have to be the adults in the room. It's unfortunate. The powers that be want us at each other's throat. This conversation didn't include any disrespect. It included a lot of listening. It included a lot of respect. It included nobody yelled and said, liar. We understood each other's perspective. So I want us to be able to have progressive conversations where grown-ups can talk in a more progressive manner. And we all have more progressive ideas and thought. I don't have to be at the table to yell you. I want to hear your point of view. So maybe if I hear your point of view, I can put that in my pocket and try to figure out, okay, this is how they're looking at things. How can I either adjust to that point of view or make that point of view where it helps me, where it's beneficial to both parties? And it's got to be a little give and a lot of take. A little give and a little take.
That's it.
That's compromise. That's what politics should be. Because we all pay into the same system to live.
That's it.
I send my kids, I pay police officers. I want to be protected. And I feel like we kind of got away from qualified immunity, but I really, before we go...
It need to end.
I will say this. I understand your perspective about your boyfriend, and I am grateful for the work that he does. And I feel like to a degree we do need police.
If we're going to keep them, no. We just need to be able to hold them accountable.
That I will say. If you feel in your heart that you can just talk and treat anybody any kind of way, if you willing to go upside somebody's head, you need to have somebody willing to go upside your head.
Well, when something bad happens, they're the ones you call.
Basically.
So
if somebody broke in your car right now outside, who would you call?
My insurance company, because I have to. And I have to call the police to file a report for the insurance company by law. Law. But if I don't have to, majority of for what? What are they going to do after it's already been broken in, except catalog what's been taken?
Yeah.
They come after the...
It makes perfect sense. I agree. And when you think about it, yeah, although the police are deterrents, the police can't be every goddamn way.
They can't be everywhere.
They can't. And where they choose to be, I mean, is more often than not in our communities, giving us extra stress, anxiety, and PTSD.
But maybe where they choose to be in our communities where they need to be sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
that's what I was about to say. I'm like,
I can name a few places if the police was there, maybe somebody wouldn't have got shot. I've seen it. But on the other side of it, too, I've seen them. I'll tell you a quick story. The police in Palm Bluff had a victory over violence, right? It's the funniest thing in the world. They're all over there. Victory over violence, victory over violence. It was funny, but sad. And they in the middle of the hood. Now, these young boys got a trap house literally right around the corner. Literally. You know what they do? They walk down the alley pointing their fingers, laughing at the police, sending their little kids, their little nephews, go over there and get some candy. Literally, the trap is right here. We want to tickle the feeling. We want to tickle the problem. We don't want to solve the problem. And until we figure out ways to tickle the problem, to actually solve the problem and invest in these babies,
That's it.
you don't want to solve it.
We got to we got to go and reclaim them. We got to reclaim their time,
Yeah.
their energy, their focus and attention.
Get your little bird ass back over here and go to school and shut up.
That's it. And not even just school, but programs, right? Because when I was growing up, listen, I was in a program every day after school until my mama got off work, right? Because we know our parents be having to work overtime, double time, all that. But
And I'm hoping that Huckabee's plan includes some type of after school programming. You think it will?
I don't know. I don't work in that world anymore. So like what y'all heard is what I heard.
Well,
Yeah.
a piece of what I also heard is she is big on what do they call it before they start school?
Head
Head
Start.
Start. I heard she's going to do a lot for that. Wonder if she know her and Hillary got a lot in common for that. Hillary is almost the mother of Head Start school, isn't she?
I really am
Hillary
not
was
familiar.
really strong about Head Start. Well, and of course, hold on, Gianna, your
The
spiritual plug
super
is gonna...
predators. That's why I'm like,
Some of these man, I know some of these boys are super predators. I was saying,
listen.
but listen, man. Before we get out of here, we've been out here for a few minutes. You got anything to say?
Man, y'all please get engaged. Find places that you can get good information that allows you to be involved in your communities. Be involved with these kids as much as possible. There is no such thing as too many surrogate parents. We talk about the lack of a village, but we are the village, right? And in the words of Killmonger, the child who grows up without the love of the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And so we got to be mindful that the violence that we see are our children burning it down because they want to feel the warmth of our love. So let's just remember to give it wherever we go. Wherever we go to whoever we meet. And as long as we do that and govern ourselves above reproach, we ain't never got no worries.
Govern ourselves above reproach. I like that. Sam?
I mean, I can't top that.
Gianna, the spiritual plug.
You should have let me go first.
Yeah, why didn't you let me go first?
He going after you, so you technically...
You know, Nate, I'm just so glad that we were able to talk and have a good conversation and everyone, like, just have a civil conversation and share our differences. That just really just brought me so much joy. And I'm just glad we got to meet today.
it's great to meet you.
Yeah.
I got a new friend, y'all.
Yeah, man. Hey, Sam the plug, man, for real. You know, I think I said it earlier that we are the adults in the room. We have to be able to sit at the table and have these conversations about differences, our differences, and how they affect us and what we can do to get over those differences. I reiterate the fact that in order for us to get better, we have to be able to learn together, live together, and eat together, and pray together, work together. And until we figure out those things, we are going to keep at war, and we're never going to be able to politic together. And that's the problem. You know, we have to get away from these people or these ideas and thoughts that this crowd over here don't want me to live and be my best, and that crowd over there don't want me to live and be my best. And these people, and if they don't, let their ass move to Alaska. Well, not even Alaska, Antarctica. Somewhere where they comfortable and it's, whatever. Let them go to Florida. Let somebody keep up with their goddamn me, period.
Okay.
Hey, man, this your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. This is Gianni, the spiritual plug. I said that right there.
You did it. You did it. You did it. Say it again. There you go. I love it.
This is my sister Sam, man. I like Sister Sam.
I do. I like it too.
I've really enjoyed this conversation. We're gonna run this back, man. We'll sit down and we want to have these progressive-led conversations by young progressives, people with forward-thinking mindsets and who thinking forward to do the work, who offer change, who offer insight, and these just great conversations. I'm so grateful for you ladies to pull up on me and have this conversation. It's your boy Big Nate, the Real Underground Radio Station. This is Nate Logic, baby. Hey, wait a minute. I know Bobby Lowe somewhere outside cussing me out right now. I know Iceman. Hold up, Betty. Wait a minute, Betty. I know Iceman buddies outside. Hey, I got the 870 show coming up, man. Hey, tap in, baby. Hey, ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. I'm so excited for what we got to talk about on the 870. This is the Real